Hey guys, I'm here on a crusade. And the crusade is to keep us from hiring the wrong candidates moving forward. I mean, we all know the pain and the cost of a bad hire. We know that when we hire the wrong person, we've hired a headache. We know that when we've hired the wrong person, we sabotage our ability to smash our goals in the manner and in the speed in which we want to. And we know that when we hire the wrong person, our teams suffer for it. Hi everyone, I'm Tabitha and Jerry, and let me share with you what I have learned over the years. And grab that pen and paper because we're going to be talking about a lot today. So, what should you do before an interview? What should you do during an interview? And what should you do after the interview to avoid hiring the wrong person? How can you ensure that you don't sabotage your ability to hire a great candidate? That's what we're going to be talking about. So get excited, lean in, grab that paper, and let's do this. Before the interview. Now, there are 5 things that you should really keep in mind before the interview, and please, don't take these for granted, because I found that the managers that do, they are more likely to hire the wrong candidate. Number 1, get clear about what job effectiveness in that role means. What do I mean by that? I mean that start with the end in mind. Start by defining the impact that you want that job to have, and then work backwards and determine what knowledge, skills, and abilities the person needs to have in order to deliver that impact. Doing it that way, with the end in mind first, with the impact first, will help you ensure that you don't miss any critical competencies for job effectiveness. Number 2, elevate that role by determining the predecessor's strength and gaps from 3 angles. And these 3 angles are so critical, guys. Don't just do 1 or 2 of them. Do all 3. From your perspective, their strengths and gaps from their peers' perspectives, meaning their fellow team members, and their strengths and gaps from their colleagues in other departments' perspective, the ones that they collaborated the most with. Ask them about strengths and gaps in 3 areas. Number 1 is knowledge, what they knew and what they should have known. The second is execution, what they did and what they could not do. And the third is soft skills, how they interacted with others while doing the job. What did they do well and what did they do poorly? These 3 insights will help you really round out what it means to be effective in that role. All right, the third thing that you should be doing, and this one's big, is prioritizing the 5 to 7 most important hard skills and the 5 to 7 most important soft skills that are needed to be successful in that job. So hard skills are really what they need to know and what they can do. So think about a CPA and forecasting. That's something they can do. And soft skills are how they go about doing the work. For example, teamwork, problem solving, communication, and more. Don't forget to prioritize both the hard and the soft skills. Number 4, convert those hard and soft skills into clear and precise behavioral-based and situational questions. Let me say that again. There are 2 types of questions that you should be asking in any interview, and you should ask both: behavioral-based questions and situational questions. If you need guidance on how to structure those 2 types of questions, go ahead and see the article I published yesterday. And it's so important that you do this. The 5th thing that you need to be doing so that you hire the right candidate time and time again is to create an interview template with your questions. And note that this template should actually have a scoring guide, which is typically between 1 to 5, which you will use to help you avoid any personal bias and the halo effect, because after all, we're all human. So guys, please create this template for yourself and use it time and time again. Just don't wing this interview. And by the way, if you are also going to have other colleagues who will interview your candidate, make sure that you create a template for them with the questions that you need them to have so that you are honing in and ranking your candidates the right way during the interview. Okay, guys, there are 5 things here too. These are the 5 things that you should be doing during the interview to make sure that you hire the right candidate time and time again and avoid the pain and headache of the wrong hire. Number 1, avoid talking too much. I mean, guys, our job is to ask effective questions and then listen in for the answers. So hiring managers that do most of the talking, and I know we've all interviewed with one of those, they're missing out on the golden opportunity to listen and assess the candidate. So remember, your role is to listen. Number 2, listen and prompt for STAR in every answer to a behavioral-based question. And if you don't get it, probe for it. What is STAR? Situation, task, action, result. And guys, let's read yesterday's article if you want to know more about STAR. Number 3, remember that the candidate is interviewing you just as you are interviewing them. So please mind your P's and Q's. Be kind and be the kind of leader that someone would want to work for, or the kind of peer that someone would want to work with. There's no need to be cold and intimidating. It will just make it more difficult for you to develop followership from your new hire. Number 4, ask this critical question at the end of your interview and closely evaluate the answer. The question is, do you have a question for me? The reason this is so important is that the answer will tell you a lot about the candidate, and it doesn't matter their level, whether they're entry level, whether they're in a blue collar job, whether they're in a white collar job, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. If they don't have any questions to your question, red flag. Or if they only ask you standard questions like, what are the next steps, or what is the salary, red flag. But it's a green flag if they ask you questions that display their genuine curiosity about the position, the company, and you. Number 5, take great notes, guys, and ask every other interviewer to take great notes so you're able to score and rank each interview objectively. After the interview, well, there are 2 really important things that I'll share here. Well, actually, let's call it 3. The first is candidate experience is key. If you interview someone and they don't get the job, please let them know that you're moving forward with other candidates. Don't leave them hanging. It can feel rather unkind. The second thing, and this one is big, is be sure to do reference checks. But the question is, how do you do those reference checks? What kind of questions do you ask? When you're doing reference checks, make sure you're asking behavioral-based questions to those references so that you can confirm or validate the candidate's strengths using real examples. Okay, guys, I have a special treat for you. And the treat is I've been receiving a lot of questions from managers on hiring. So I've decided to do an audiogram tomorrow, Friday, in terms of Friday FAQs to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please go into the comment section on Facebook and send those questions to me. Write them down and I'll answer them in tomorrow's FAQs. The second thing is, before you do that, be sure to review the 2 articles I published over the last 2 days on Facebook. They will really help round out your information. The first one is called 2 question types you just can't ignore for your hiring success. And the second one is called 3 common mistakes that lead to a painful, costly hire. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm so excited. Send your questions, and please, if you enjoy this content, if you've been having a good time, help me out by sharing this widely. See you tomorrow. I'm Tabitha Njeri, and I help you get the best out of your teams so you can smash your goals and Sleep well at night.